Hello and welcome back to another one of my Hunsolos. I'm filming this on the floor and I'm off-centered on purpose, so if that annoys anybody then please accept my apology. Sorry. Anyway, in today's Hunsolo, I'm going to be sharing with you a little story time. This story time takes place around 6 years ago when I was in school. And when I say school, I don't mean primary school, I mean secondary / comprehensive / high school. I never know what to call it because everybody calls it a different thing. So, to give a little run up to the story, all the way through school I was bullied. From year 7 to year 11, I was bullied. It wasn't necessarily just one person, it was quite a few people, and I bet you can't guess why. I was bullied because of my appearance. I was bullied because of the colour of my hair, because I had no eyelashes or eyebrows, and I was also bullied because I wore glasses. So, this bullying experience started in year 8 of comprehensive. This wasn't just like a thing that happened over a few months. This actually happened for a few years, 2 to 3 years. I'm really struggling to get my words out and put sentences together, and I don't know why. I'm trying to think of a name to call the boy that bullied me in this story. Let's call him Lee. Mine and Lee's relationship started off as acquaintances who had been put together in a class at the start of year 8. I don't even know if we were friends at any point throughout these few years. However, we started off as acquaintances. Somehow we got together in one of those relationships that you think is real at the time but actually doesn't mean. But you know what I mean, it's one of those relationships that you have in school. So yeah, me and Lee got together, and when we got together, he was nice, he was alright, he wasn't, I don't know what word I was going to use there, because really what expectations did I have in year 8? He was nice, his mum was nice, emphasis on the word was. He wasn't in any way nasty to me, you know, as he shouldn't be because we were in a relationship. This thing that I'm going to say isn't really relevant to the story, but I just want to put across like how lovely his mum was to me. One time she just made a batch of cupcakes and she saved one for me, and she actually brought Lee to my house to give it to us, and I was really grateful for that. I can't remember what the cupcake tasted like, but it was irrelevant to the story anyway. His mum would like and comment on my Instagram pictures, she would message me sometimes, just general conversation, whether it's about me or she was just nice. However, fast forward to when me and Lee were no longer together, and suddenly he was just horrible. He was so horrible. And if I'm being honest, the things that I'm about to tell you are probably going to be a bit jumbled, probably going to be a bit all over the place, and it's probably going to be a bit hard to keep up, because if I'm being honest, although I've like written a few things down just to keep myself on track, I have learned to block things like that out. So I blocked a lot of it out. These are just things that I'm having to pull forward to remember to tell this story time. Anyway, after we broke up, it was horrible, and there was this thing round the corner from my house, and it was like a club for like kids to go to, not kids but like teenagers to go to. I'm saying teenagers, but at the time I was like 13. Teenager. This club was something that kids could go to after school, like later on in the evening, and just chill with other people. And me and my friend Ellie started going there because we knew a lot of people who did go there, and it was something to do on an evening. One of those people that we knew that went there was Lee. Now, this club was a place that Lee used to exercise how nasty he could be to me, because there was nobody there to tell him not to do it. Like I said before, I can't remember everything, so there's going to be gaps of things that I can't remember. But whilst he was exercising how mean he could be to me, other people started to do so as well. Now, don't get us wrong, no matter where I was, whether it would be school, walking in the street, or this club, everybody would say things to us. But in this club is where people started to latch on to what Lee was doing, and they did it collectively. I can't remember specific things of what happened in that club, but they would throw things off me, they would chuck food at me, calling me for my hair, calling me ugly, just general stuff. I don't know if you know what the general stuff includes, but I do. But like I said, they would throw things off me, kick things off me, specifically footballs, because this club had a little 3G pitch thing. It was small, but it was still there, and we would play, well, I wouldn't, I don't play football, but we'd go out there and people would play football. And this is just a little example, but one time we were out on that 3G pitch and everybody started to like gang up on me. That's what they did, they started to gang up on me this day. So from every person I had, oh, you're ugly, oh, you're a slag, even though I was 13. Oh, you're four-eyed ginger. Stuff like that. And bearing in mind, this wasn't just happening at this club, it was happening at school too. So I was coming home from school where I'd been targeted all day by numerous people, but especially Lee, and then I was going to a club where Lee was, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of my fault. Why was I still going to this club where I knew he was there? But I suppose I was going because my friends were there and I wanted to spend time with my friends. So yeah, bearing in mind I was coming home from school where I was getting targeted by him, and then I was coming to this club where everybody was targeting us. And this specific day I remember because up until like last year I never used to cry. I never used to show emotion really, and I would always just be like, oh, whatever. Like to them I'd be like, oh, like whatever. But this day it was really, really getting to us, and I remember just feeling like, why am I gonna cry? This specific day I was just feeling really, really down and really worthless, because that's how this bullying made me feel. Although I was always just brushing it off to their faces, it was really getting to us. We're on this 3G pitch, everybody, when I say everybody, I'm really referring to the boys that were at this club. I don't know how many times I've restarted this sentence, but I'm going to start it again. So, this day I was just really feeling down, I was feeling worthless, because that's how these comments and this bullying would make me feel. Although I would just brush it off to their faces, I was really affected by it. I remember just standing and feeling myself starting to cry. And I was like, oh my god, Charlotte, don't do this in front of them. So I managed to push back the tears. Some of the things that they were saying was just like comparing my hair colour to things, just comparing my hair to things in general. And obviously because it's ginger, when I think of it now, I'm like, yeah, that's really dumb. Like, that's not something to be upset over. But when I was 13, I had no confidence. I didn't really have any confidence until last year, if I'm being honest. So imagine 13-year-old me. So imagine 13-year-old... So imagine 13-year-old me, you know, all these boys are ganging up on us, making us feel like a piece of shit, making me feel this big. And I was standing and I hear this boy from across the pitch say, oh, Charlotte, this ball is the same colour as your hair, because it was an orange ball. And I understand what you were getting at, you know, orange ball, ginger hair, but actually it was nothing like the colour of my hair. This ball was bright orange. I'm clearly ginger, do you know what I mean? A few seconds after he said that, I felt the ball come across my face. And when I say across my face, I actually just mean I see the ball coming towards my face and I feel it hit us in the face. And I don't mean to make things more dramatic than they were, but he kicked the ball at some force, do you know, like, it hurt. It hurt enough for us to cry, even though I never cried up until like last year. That was just an example of the things that would happen at this club that I went to. Inside school, however, he was different. And when I say different, I don't mean, oh, he was nice to us, oh, he was so nice to us. I mean that at this club, he would just be nasty to us. He would be really nasty to us. However, when we were in school, he would combine this nastiness with, like, weird, creepy, like, romantic, I don't know how to say it. I don't know what words to use, but it was creepy. As an example, I remember that in a particular science class, we were sat next to each other. And he would do creepy things like rub his foot up against my leg and, like, try and, like, grab my knees under the table, which was, we were 13, what are you doing? That's gross. That's disgusting. That's creepy. He would say things to us to make me feel like an idiot, to make me feel confused about what mine and his relationship was. And when I say he would say things to make me confused, he would say things to us that insinuated that he liked me, like in that kind of way. Yeah, he would say things to me that insinuated that he liked me in that type of way, even though he was the nastiest person to me in my life at the time. And I can only assume that he was doing it on purpose, because he knew what he was doing. He's not an idiot. Well, but these nasty things and these nasty acts weren't just coming from Lee, they were coming from his mum as well. Remember when I said she was nice? Emphasis on the was. So let's just bear in mind that his mum, what should we call his mum? Rachel. So let's just bear in mind that Rachel was and is a fully grown woman. You wouldn't believe it by the things that I'm about to tell you, but she was and is a fully grown woman. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I live just a 20-second walk from the school that I attended, and I would walk to school, obviously, every morning, apart from the times that I was lazy and I'd get my mum to drive us up the street. I would walk to school every morning. Some mornings, most mornings, I'd be walking to school and this car would be driving down the street and slow down as it got to me, so that Lee and his mum Rachel could roll their window down and shout things at me and give me dirty looks as I'm walking to school by myself. His mum was allowing him to do that every morning because his mum was doing it as well. Another example, one time I was walking to the bus stop from my house, and as I was walking down this street, they happened to drive past me. And as they drove past me, they wound their window down and Lee shouted out, "You ugly ginger slag." His mum was allowing him to do this, to shout things out the window to a girl in the street. Oh my god. While we're on the topic of his mum Rachel and how she was also encouraging this bullying from her son to me, she was encouraging him to bully me. One day Lee comes into school and he's talking about how his mum doesn't like us, his mum hates me, and about how his mum was gonna throttle me. That's actually what she told him to come into school and tell me. That she, a grown woman, was gonna come and throttle a 13-year-old girl. I mean, if that doesn't tell you what kind of woman she is, then I don't know how to put it across any further. Leading on from that, because I already said it was going to be all over the place, I'm going to tell you why it went on for so long. So if I'm being honest with you, it went on for about 2 or 3 years. When I was in school, and I'm still like this now, I would rather die. Hypothetically, I would rather die than have my mum go up to school and make a fuss about something that included me. I thought it was embarrassing. I thought it made us cringe. I thought it would bring more bullying to me if my mum came up to school and kicked up a fuss about this. However, my head of year was aware of the problem. They just didn't do anything about it. The one time that I did actually go to my head of year, who is supposed to help us with anything that we needed in school. They were also supposed to sort out any problems that we had going on, such as bullying, but I'm about to tell you how that turned out. So, the one time that I went to my head of year, she pulled both me and Lee out of class and stood us in this corridor outside of the classroom. She basically said, bearing in mind I didn't want to go to teachers about this because just like everybody else, when I was 13, I was like, oh my god, if I go to a teacher, this is just going to get so much worse. It's not going to get any better. When I went to my head of year about this problem that I was having, this problem that I had been having for a very long time, she pulled us both out of class and said to me, if this nonsense goes on any longer, you will be put on report and punished for it. I don't want to hear about this again. That's what my head of year said to me. My head of year, who was supposed to deal with any problems that I was having, was supposed to support me with anything that I was going to her with, because that's what a head of year does. Obviously, nothing was done after that. It kept going. It went on for a long time after that. However, it eventually fizzled out, not because he changed and realised that what he was doing was not right. It fizzled out because he'd found other people to treat this way. That's not my story to tell, that's their story. If they want to share that experience, then they can, but it's not mine to share. So I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, that is the only reason that it fizzled out for me. That is the only reason that the bullying fizzled out for me. Thankfully, it got to the point where he wasn't really bothered about me anymore, which obviously was a massive relief for me, but it was short-lived. Because like I said, it wasn't just one person. There was a lot of people that bullied me when I was in school. So that ended about 4 or 5 years ago, and thank the God that I don't believe is real. I've never had any contact with him since. Fast forward to June of this year, which was the month that the Black Lives Matter movement was growing and going strong. It is also something that I was very passionate about and I am still passionate about. So during this time I was posting a lot of stuff on my story. Anything that I thought or felt like people needed to learn or educate themselves on, or just have the information, I was posting this onto my Instagram story. One of the things that I had posted to my story was a bingo, and it was called Undercover Racist Bingo. During this time I was posting all this stuff on my story is obviously, and I think other people will have noticed this as well, during this time is when all of the racists on social media came forward, whether it was like just random people's posts that were getting shared, or people that followed you or that you were friends with on Facebook or Snapchat, etc. And I will pop up a picture here of what this undercover racist bingo was. I think it's quite funny. I still laugh at it when I read it. I think it's funny. So during this time I was arguing with many people about things that shouldn't even have to be argued. So I was getting a lot of messages of people on my social media who were not happy that I was actively supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. We were walking back to the car and I'd gotten a notification. And I looked at it and I'd seen that it was a message on Instagram. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, like, just say you're racist and move on, stop messaging us. But this particular message that I am talking about was from Lee. He had swiped up to the undercover racist bingo, so he was obviously triggered. I don't know why you would be triggered if you weren't racist. Just before I read this message out, I want to quickly mention that the time that I got the message was when, obviously we were in lockdown, everybody knows that we were in lockdown because the whole world was in lockdown. But the time that I got this message was when a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests were happening. A lot of them were in Newcastle, which is not far from where I live, so a lot of people that I knew were participating, and I fully supported that. And I understand that it's not a popular opinion, but during those months that the Black Lives Matter movement was like growing and going strong, I was one of those who supported the protests happening during, because they were all safely protesting. I believed that it was more important. I believed that it was something that had to happen to cause change, which worked because there has been a lot of change since then, change for the good. Around this time was also when the statue of Edward Colston, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but that was his name. His statue was pulled down, and it was pulled down because he was a slave trader. It should have never been up in the first place. It just took people a while to realise that. So that statue was pulled down, and that particularly triggered a lot of the racists, obviously. So you just needed a little bit of context before I read this message out. I'm gonna pop this picture up right here, but I'm gonna read it as well. I always knew you were a vile human, Charlotte. But what the f are you doing? You'd be a German kitchen wench if it wasn't for Churchill. You uncultured, lemon picking, vegan eating, tree shagging, no respect for the NHS bitch. My brother's best mate lost his grandma to corona, and you bunch of idiots go out and condone spreading it as if you're some sort of God's gift to the world. I have no respect for people like you that thinks it's okay to mock the heroes that got us through the war. You f***ing snowflake. Block me and remove me. First of all, I don't know what the term lemon picking is supposed to mean. I don't know if that has some sort of like underlying insulting meaning that I don't know of, but I'm not a vegan. Also, vegan eating would really insinuate that I was eating vegans, and I don't eat people, nor am I a vegan. I also don't shag trees. And actually, I have a lot of respect for the NHS. The NHS has saved my life a few times. Also, I would like to mention that although I was in support of all these protests for the Black Lives Matter movement going on during COVID, I never actually took part in any of those. Just a few more things. I don't think that I'm God's gift, because God's not real, allegedly. I have never once mocked anybody who fought in the world wars. And 3, it's embarrassing when you call people a snowflake. It's embarrassing. Stop it. If you're a person that calls people snowflakes for insults, then you need to stop it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So let's just talk about the immediate feelings I had when I received this message. I thought it was funny. In fact, I put a screenshot of it in my family chat and we all laughed at it. I also think it's funny that you took the time to sit and type this message and send it to me. I can only assume that he expected a reply, because otherwise why would you send a message? Unfortunately for him, he didn't receive the attention that he was craving so badly because I didn't reply. Anyway, I didn't reply to that. Instead I put it on my story. He replied to that story saying, using my name for clout again. And Lee, if you are watching this, then I just hope that you have grown into a better person, or you're at least trying to be a better person. And as for Rachel, his mother, I hope that you have realised, or will someday realise, that the way you treated me as a 13-year-old girl was unacceptable. You were a grown woman. You are a grown woman. But yeah, I hope that you have worked on becoming better people, because although you made my life so miserable, I wish the best for you, and I wish the best for your family. Also, a little side note for anybody who uses ginger as an insult, please stop using ginger as an insult. It doesn't mean anything. It's quite embarrassing. I am going to leave this video here. If you have enjoyed, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to become a little Hun, then please subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you never miss an upload. If you'd like to follow me on any social media, mainly Instagram and TikTok, they're both just at Charlotte Carr Brown. You can go and follow us. Go and follow us! And I will see you in the next one. Bye!